In the late 1600s, one of the darkest chapters in American history unfolded in the small Puritan town of Salem, Massachusetts. What began as whispers of witchcraft turned into a full-blown hysteria, leading to the deaths of 20 innocent people and the imprisonment of many others. But what was behind the Salem witch trials? Was it a case of mass paranoia, or something far darker? Today, we dive into the horrifying true story of the Salem witch trials, where fear, superstition, and injustice collided in a nightmare that still haunts us today. The year is 1692. Salem, Massachusetts, a Puritan settlement, is a strict, religious community. The people here live in constant fear of the devil, and their world is governed by a set of harsh religious beliefs that leave little room for mercy. In a town already strained by political tensions, economic hardship, and a recent smallpox outbreak, a storm was brewing that would lead to unimaginable chaos. It all started with a group of young girls in Salem Village, some of whom were the daughters of the town's most prominent figures. These girls began exhibiting strange behavior. They claimed to be afflicted by evil spirits, contorting their bodies, speaking in tongues, and even accusing people in the community of witchcraft. In a town where the fear of witches was already deeply ingrained, these outbursts set off a chain reaction. Soon, the entire town was gripped by panic. The girls were not the only ones claiming to be victims. Soon, others began accusing their neighbors, some of whom had long-standing grudges, of practicing witchcraft. But why witchcraft? Why Salem? To understand this, we need to look at the religious climate of the time. In 17th century New England, the Puritans believed that witches were in league with the devil. Anyone suspected of witchcraft was seen as a direct threat to their way of life. It wasn't just about the supernatural. It was a fight for the soul of the community. The Puritans were zealous in their faith, and their religion left no room for doubt. They believed that the devil was constantly lurking, looking for ways to corrupt and destroy them. The idea of witchcraft was terrifying because it was seen as an invitation to the devil's power, a pact that had the potential to unravel the entire Puritan order. As accusations spread, the town's leaders, including ministers, began to look for proof of witchcraft. Soon, the infamous trials began. It didn't take much to be accused. A strange look, a personal feud, or just being an outsider could make you a target. The trials were nothing short of horrifying. Those accused of witchcraft were subjected to grueling interrogations and tests to prove their guilt. One of the most infamous was the witches' pricking test, where accused witches were poked with needles to see if they felt pain. If they didn't, it was seen as proof of their pact with the devil. Some of the accused were tortured in an attempt to extract confessions. Others, desperate to save themselves, would accuse others, perpetuating a vicious cycle of fear and distrust. The trials were ruled by hysteria rather than reason, and soon the town of Salem was engulfed in madness. The trials were led by Judge Samuel Sewell and Judge William Stoughton. With little evidence and even less logic, they convicted dozens of people. The accused were often sentenced to death, some executed by hanging, others by pressing, where heavy stones were placed on the accused's chest until they died from the weight. In the summer of 1692, the bloodshed began. 20 people were executed for witchcraft, most of them women. Among them was a 71-year-old woman named Rebecca Nurse, who had been a well-respected member of the community. Her execution shocked many. After all, how could someone so loved and innocent be condemned as a witch? The hysteria reached its peak when the trials turned into a witch hunt. Those who had been accused, and had confessed, were now accusing others. The lines between truth and lie, the guilty and innocent, became blurred beyond recognition. But by the fall of 1692, people began to question the trials. Prominent figures like Reverend Increase Mather spoke out against the trials, arguing that the evidence used to convict the accused was deeply flawed. The influence of the trials began to wane as more people realized that the hysteria had gone too far. In October of 1692, the governor of Massachusetts, William Phips, intervened and halted the trials. He ordered that the spectral evidence, evidence based on visions or dreams, be no longer used. By 1693, the trials were officially over, but the damage had been done. The town of Salem was left in ruin, and the scars of the trials would never heal. The Salem witch trials are remembered today as a stark reminder of the dangers of mass hysteria, religious extremism, and the breakdown of justice. Though the trials were short-lived, they left a permanent mark on American history. The victims were exonerated over time, but the fear and distrust created by those trials would linger in the collective memory of the nation for generations. In modern-day Salem, the trials are remembered with memorials and educational efforts to ensure that the story is never forgotten. But the lessons learned from this dark chapter remain ever relevant. How fear and superstition can blind us to truth, and how easily the innocent can be swept away in a storm of lies. The Salem witch trials are a haunting reminder of the dangers of fear-driven societies, where justice becomes distorted, and the line between truth and accusation becomes dangerously thin. It's a tragedy that still echoes today, a chilling tale of how an entire town was consumed by a fear of the unknown. If you found this story intriguing, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest moments. What do you think caused the Salem witch trials? Was it hysteria, or something more? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, remember, history is always watching.